Hi everyone. Today is December the 8th, 2020, Tuesday. I'll give you a quick recap on yesterday's market and things to know for today and what to look forward. US stock market trade lower amid daily 20,000 coronavirus cases. Some area of California placed more restrictive measures to alleviate further outbreak of cases. Disappointment of stimulus talk pulled the market lower. Dow ended at 30,109.41, still over 30,000 points. S&P 500 down 0.2%, but Nasdaq was up 0.4% at 12,510.06. Despite a pullback, number of companies were a quick performer and trade high yesterday. Kodak stock has surged as much as 98% after the investigation was completed. Virgin Galactic was up over 10% as the space test launch will be ready anytime soon. Palantir went up over 15% intraday after noting that a contract with FDA was awarded. Facebook and Netflix were up around 2 to 3%, but Apple, Amazon, Microsoft, and Google were down slightly. Salesforce rebounded slightly as well. Oil price edged a little lower, but gold gained as much as 0.4% to 1,845.88 per ounce yesterday. Global stocks are down at the moment. Global stocks are down. Asia stock fell between 0.2% and 0.7%. European index fell between 0.2 and 0.6%. US futures were down right now between 0.2 and 0.4%. Dow Industrial Average retreated about 100 points. Nasdaq pulled back 30 points, and S&P 500 pulled back 14.75 points roughly. Nokia founder Trevor Milton plans to remain top shareholder and still has 33% stake in the stock. Water futures set to trade on Wall Street for first time ever. One market gauge hit its highest point since dot-com bubble. The S&P 500 CAPE ratio, which measures inflation adjusted earnings over the past decade, is twice its historical average. Earnings expected Chewy and AutoZone highlights. And here's a graph showing you that Dow definitely have off from the top, but a little bit slower than compared to the other two indexes. Overall, the year is 7.3%. Even 30,000 points seems to be very awfully high, but really, if you compare the other two indexes, major indexes, Dow is still underperformed at this point. Nasdaq was still way up 44% for the year, in S&P 500 17.3%. The reason why this is very critical to show this graph, number one, for investor that actually hitting Nasdaq, though yesterday Nasdaq was still up and another record high, is something remember that is you have to look at what you own and make the best decision, and may have to kind of shuffle and shift the funds to somewhere else and capitalize again. Dow, there was a question whether this is actually go up higher or not. Analysts predicted that it will go up to 40,000 points. I'm not even sure how and why. But if you look at the reason uplift for the stock, for the market, was really by Boeing. Boeing was from $150 to $240, which actually how I made money during the first time of the pandemic. At this point, I bought Boeing at $90 and sold at $150. So this time was the range was, and then at $150 I bought some to make a little bit money on the way. This time I didn't buy it and missed it, but this is really a big gainers. They actually didn't do much, but except the MAX 737 was gone up to fly again. Salesforce was actually down compared to after they joined in the Dow Industrial Average Index. Honeywell was roughly the same but a little higher. Since there are only 30 stock in Dow, it's actually much easier to analyze and understand what was happening. Apple right now they are predicting that the stock may go up, and they just come up with an announcement, the new iPod. So we regarding to that, if you look at the perspective, and Caterpillar was going up quite a bit because they anticipating the recovery, more construction work and so on, that signed up the contract with energy company whatsoever. So if you look at the component of the stock that make it up, and Travelers obviously, and United Healthcare, those two as well was kind of deep, and then now with the economic recovery, people were thinking that things are back to normal, or actually they were even better than pre-pandemic. So these are the things to consider whether that really would have gone up or not. If with some modeling and anticipation of how it looks like next year, assuming that vaccine will really go into effect pretty time soon, a lot of Americans will be able to vaccinate it. But obviously, the stimulus still on the hook. Don't know whether we get it or not. Hopefully, you will do so, and really gonna give some money to Americans and get the unemployment benefit extension. I still not understanding why in March, when things were able to sign so quickly into the deal, and now after the election there should be no more political reasoning that dragging behind of the economic driver. A lot of people were suffering, statistically driven, and still 12 million people were out of job, which the percentage wise looks like not so bad, but have to one thing to bear in mind is the population. So if you do the math, trying to find a job is a lot in your America is much harder than other countries. So that's something to bear in mind. It's not just a percentage, it's also how easier now for people to find jobs. And these people don't find jobs. I don't care about the indication about the housing market boom, because what if the millennial also lost their job, right? I mean, people seems to be over optimistic in America, or actually the rest of the world potentially, that things are going to be greater and better, and how and what is going to drive that. We only stock market was 6 months ahead of the curve, so they only at pricing in stimulus, which we didn't get. So our pricing the vaccine come into place is our pricing in things, that more traveling, business will consume back to normal, restaurant will reopen. So you have to ask yourself whether these stuff make sense or not. Because if it come down, the market can really do a correction very quickly, much faster than you think. And for Nasdaq, again, there will be shift. Some cloud and computing business was still good, but certain business like Zoom were kind of inflated. I mean, if people really go back to work, do they really need to hook up to the Zoom business? Amazon, a lot of people say it's not going to be fail, and somebody really think even it will be double in the future. But I gotta remind you that again, do the due diligence about what other services are, how they making money, where they're going from. Are they shifting the core business from selling items to you and deliver from a third party into their own brand? Or because if you look at the margin they're making, from a profit margin perspective, I don't challenge your revenue, but the profit margin, does it really worth that much? $3,000+ and obviously that's why Amazon have been being pressured and going down lately. And I still own a couple share of Amazon at a loss at the moment, but then I still have to be fairly evaluated and tell you what's going on, right? With some of the stock that, when the market going to be normalized, things back to normal. Well, then for a lot of stock that overvalue, what's going to happen to them? But of course, at the end of the day, if all stocks are overvalued, maybe it doesn't crash the market, because you think about it. I mean, it become a normal. Overvaluation is normal. Then why would it crash? Because people still need to invest. Money's still going to be sitting there, right? And then on the S&P 500, people were predicting that things were still going on, but will go higher by 15% next year, 20%. Analysts said that, not for me. And S&P 500, since the 500 stock there is a little harder evaluating that. But at the end of the day, it's still important to think about whether your investment, your stock in that, should you really doing some hedges at this point? Should you move the stock into silicos and financial sector like they told you to, or they recommend you to do that, and look for the smaller cap company that have a better growth, right? Sometimes it's all get down to investor preference. I can preach you what to do because I will recommend some stock to people, and people say they are risky. I recommend some stock to people say I never heard of their name. I recommend some stock to people. They say, "Whoa, today the market is down. Now I'm losing 20%. What am I doing?" Well, the problem again, people, is that you don't buy a stock and anticipate it tomorrow going up, right? And that's not the model of investment. So I hope sometimes people have to understand it, and then despite people tell you 40,000 that will go up, I'm telling you is the other way around. Precautions about where you are. Sometimes it's not a good idea just to trust what people tell you. And you've seen history how things shape up, right? I'm not gonna point to anything else, but you have to. You must need to do due diligence. Think about it. Tesla hit up to $645, $44 up yesterday. Would that come back down, or would that go up to $700, right? I mean, because Tesla is always a good subject to talk about, because people evaluate that evaluation of people. JP Morgan say they're only worth $120 after upgrade, and then the other analysts say you're worth $700. All they're selling is ecosystem, but again, think about the vehicle they're selling. That is so small that when you think about when people, well, I'm almost saying it's good if you have money to buy a Tesla, because definitely you buy a car that's worth a lot more than what you pay for. Now, how about that? So a lot of things you need to carefully think about, and I have a $50 strategy video about Tesla. Take a look at that. I think any stock like FCEL is another one that up and down crazy. Some electric vehicle have some volatility as well. This $50 methodology can be applied. The assumption is you're gonna own some stock, and you're gonna capitalize it and make the gain first. That's just the assumption. That's the starting of the game. So you don't sell the stock at a loss and trying to buy back and take my $50 strategy. Well, that gets you a bad starting point to begin with. Hope you like my video. If you like it, please make sure to subscribe and be my follower. Have a nice day.